Hey guys, do you want to know what really makes me tick, what made me who I am, and what my why is? I'm going to share and bare my soul right here for you, my community, in this video. So stay tuned. Hey y'all, so Rebecca Zung here, and I just wanted to take some time to be with you in this video and just kind of share what made me who I am and what my why is and why I do what I do, because I think it's really important for you guys to understand why I make all these videos and why I do what I do, because, I had a very, very successful, extremely busy law practice for a very long time, and I don't have to do this. I certainly don't have to sit here and make videos, and I certainly don't have to sit here and teach people about narcissism and do these things. But I want you to know why I do all of this and why I talk about the things that I do, because, there's certainly something that's motivating me and certainly something that's having me talk about all of this. And I want you to know a little bit more of my backstory so that you can understand a little bit more about that. So I was born, I'm half Chinese, half German. My dad is Chinese. He was a doctor. My mom was a nurse at the time. She German by descent, but she was born in this country. My dad was actually born in Shanghai, and he came here when he was 14 with his family, and they actually met in the operating room. And, I was raised mostly or completely, actually, in Northern Virginia, outside of Washington, D.C., in, a pretty metropolitan area, but not really all that progressive when it came to mixed people or Asian people. I mean, I was growing up in the 70s and 80s at a time when, Vietnam was a thing, and people, I mean, there were kids in my class who had come over from Vietnam, and Vietnamese refugees were a thing. And there was still a lot of backlash, actually, about like a lot of things Asian, honestly. And so people didn't really understand anything much about Asians, and it wasn't really all that popular. I mean, now you see, everybody and their brother has like tattoos of Asian characters. I mean, obviously, there's been some backlash lately with the Asian hate and all of that. But, you definitely see way more mixed couples and much more acceptance than there used to be. But, there were not mixed race kids when I was growing up, and I was definitely bullied. And I did talk about a lot more of that in my video called I Don't Normally Share This, and you can check that out if you'd like. So, I did end up going to a boarding school for high school, which pretty much saved my life, I think, because I really never felt like I fit in public school. And then I did excel there, and I graduated second in my class from high school. I started college, but didn't really feel like I fit in college. So I ended up dropping out of college. I got married at 19. I had 3 kids by the time I was 22. Then I moved to Florida, and, marriage wasn't working out. But I did end up finishing college, and I was teaching in inner city schools. I've got these little kids. I'm teaching in inner city Fort Lauderdale. Marriage not working out. And I'm like making almost no money. I got to figure out what am I going to do with myself. So I'm like survival mode. So I find out that, local law school has a night program. I start there, University of Miami. Then I transfer to University of Miami, which also has a night program. I go there. I finish there. I'm just basically trying to put a roof over my kids' head, put food on my kids' table, like trying to help my kids. Meet my husband in law school. We start dating. And while I'm still in law school, I also got a job with a firm that is like one of the largest, most prestigious family law firms in Florida. And that's how I ended up falling into family law practice. So I ended up excelling there. And high-end family law is a very specialized type of family law practice because you're dealing with very high-end businesses, very complicated businesses, complicated trusts. It's not like regular divorce practice. You really have to understand retirement assets, different types of currencies, different types of retirement plans, all sorts of different things. So do that. I go out on my own. I have my own practice. I had another child, by the way. I had a fourth child. I have a fourth baby who's now just started her first year of college. And I wrote my first book, which took me all over. And I did a lot of television, did a lot of things with that. And then I started speaking on negotiation. I started speaking on negotiation to really build my practice because nobody wanted to hear me speak about divorce. So I spoke on negotiation from every Rotary to pretty much from Tampa to Marco Island. I've spoken to pretty much every medical association and all over the place. And then I just really realized at some point, once I built this amazing practice and I had the largest family law practice, I set out to do that. And I realized, you know what? I'm actually an entrepreneur at heart, and I'm actually somebody who I have meaning to my life. I have like a mission for what I'm doing. And I'm like, I feel like I'm just on this gerbil wheel. And so a few years ago, I decided to merge my practice with a couple of other guys who are fantastic, by the way. And I decided to do something else. And that's when I wrote my second book called Negotiate Like You Matter with Robert Shapiro and started doing some other things. And that's where I ended up kind of falling into the clutches of doing a very short-lived small business with a covert narc who shall remain nameless. And I also realized that there was a covert narc in my life as an extended family member. And when I kind of dove in and started really learning a lot about narcissism. And that is when I realized, wow, I could actually start teaching not just about negotiation, but about how to negotiate with narcissists in general. And as an INFJ, which I've talked about before with you guys, like I'm an INFJ in the Myers-Briggs personality test. I have to have purpose. I have to have meaning for my work. And so I love this forum because I love being able to connect with so many of you every single day. I hear from so many of you about how my work and my mission has changed so many of your lives. And that is my why. You guys are my why, aside from my children, of course, my family, definitely my first why. But then you guys are right there, right there. I mean, you're my who, you're my why. This is what made me who I am. And I feel like all the way from the bullies on the playground through to learning about negotiation, through to, having these narcissists in my life and the narcissists I dealt with in my law practice and all the way up brought me to like this, it was like all the stars aligned and brought me to like this moment where here I am to this place and on this course. And so I want you to think about all the things in your life, like all the things that just seem like debris and horrible stuff, and maybe they're all just aligning to become something that becomes your purpose. Maybe they are actually becoming your building blocks to something that you're going to be able to use to help others, to be able to inspire others, to be able to become your passion, to be able to become your purpose. And so I want to know what you think that might be. So comment below, let me know. Let me know what you think. If you like this video, give it a like, give it a share, and drop me that comment. And of course, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks so much for dropping by. If you want to join my free private Facebook group, you are certainly always welcome to do that. And you're certainly always welcome to grab my free Crush My Negotiation Prep worksheet at winmynegotiation.com too as well. So as always, I'm grateful for you. And as always, please remember that today is a great day to start negotiating your best life. I'm Rebecca Zung. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being my why. And thank you for stopping by. And I will see you in that next video.